Hi everyone! Welcome to our EDIT 6150 Introduction to Digital Learning Level 4 Technology Integration Project. This project was created by Vivian Carbonneau, Lauren Davis, Christian Strout, and myself, Betsy Brown. We decided to focus on pollution for this assignment. The standard this addresses is S3L2. And it says the student will be able to obtain, evaluate, and communicate information about the effects of pollution, air, land, and water, and humans on the environment. They will ask questions to collect information and create records of sources and effects of pollution on the plants and animals. And they will also explore, research, and communicate solutions such as conservation of resources and recycling of materials to protect plants and animals. The problem our technology integration project addresses is that not all students are actively engaged in learning. Some students need differentiation in note-taking. Students need more interaction with their community. And students are not applying the skills that they learn. Now let's move on to the conceptual solution and the theoretical justification. Students need tools that will allow them to interact with their community and collect information in a variety of formats. Increased communication and collaboration would allow students to share ideas and questions, build consensus, and learn to listen and respect one another. The students also need more opportunities for critical thinking and problem solving in the real world. Creating more opportunities for communication, collaboration, and critical thinking is justified through the democratic learning approach and the social constructivist theory. Learning becomes child-centered. Students become active participants in their learning and in their society, and students are more prepared for a civic life. Next, you will hear from Vivian and then Kristen. Lauren will wrap up our presentation at the end.
The two tools that we decided to integrate into the activity were Flipgrid and Google Keep. So Flipgrid is a space to give students a voice and share their ideas using video, and Google Keep is a note-taking app where you can take notes in a variety of ways. So I'm going to show both of those here. The first one is Flipgrid. This is what it looks like when you first log in. You have your different grids that you can create. So we created a sample one for the classroom. You could create as many grids as you need to depending on the number of classrooms that you have, or you can even add a grid for every unit that you're teaching just to keep it more organized. So here when you access the grid that you're looking for, you can see all the topics that are underneath this grid, and you can edit them here or add new ones. So if you wanted to add a new topic, you would just click that. Here you would just title it. Video responses can be anywhere from 15 to 5 minutes. Then here you would type in your topic description or your question that you have for the students. You can even attach a video or a photo to go along with it, as well as a URL if they need to access a specific document to read before they answer their questions in Flipgrid. Students can even be allowed to reply to a response that another student has added to the grid. And then for the teacher with feedback, you can either use their basic feedback or custom feedback where you can actually create a rubric and then attach it to the Flipgrid. So that's exactly how you create a topic in Flipgrid, and it's as simple as that. So for the students, this is what it looks like for them when they access the website. You can have ideas for them to add ideas to any kind of topic that you have for them, or they can go to the specific topic that they need to discuss and add something to. So for example, if they needed to go to reflection number 1, they could click on it, read what they need to do, and then click here to add a video with their response. That's it for Flipgrid. And then going on to Google Keep, this is what Google Keep looks like. All you need is a Google account. So here you can see that you can add notes by drawing. You could draw your own pictures, bookmark websites. You can take photos. So this is kind of an example of what it might look like if students were to go into the community and do this themselves. They can write reflections and little notes, organize everything by color, create lists. They can even collaborate in Google Keep by clicking the collaborator button and adding in any student's email address. And that's pretty much it. You just take notes from this top bar here and just decide what you would like to add. And that is it for Google Keep.
Okay, these are our implementation details. This lesson is for a third grade classroom based on our standards. To introduce the lesson, we'll have an opening activity where each student is given a post-it note to write their ideas of what they think pollution is, and then the students will place these sticky notes on the board. And once each student has done this, we'll come together and have an open class discussion on the topic of pollution. Next, we will discuss the project for the class. The project entails the students collecting information and data about different types of pollution using Flipgrid or Google Keeps. The students will be exploring around the school grounds, at home, and in their communities. Once all data is collected, we will come together as a class and brainstorm solutions to the pollution problems. Then, after all student information is collected, the class will have an interactive writing activity to write a letter to the local government to implement some of these ideas. The last step to the lesson is sending off the official letter to the city and making small changes while waiting. For example, making recycling bins to place around the classroom or the school. So who will be using the Flipgrid and Google Keeps? The students, as a part of the lesson. How will they use it? They will use it to collect information and data in a creative way. How long will they use it? This project will take place over the course of several weeks in order to collect all the information needed and to wait for the letter to be returned, etc. And where will it be used? So the students will be researching around the school, at home, and in the community for different types of pollution. What will they create? The students will create notes and unique ways to demonstrate signs of pollution. Then the class will come together through an interactive writing activity to create a letter to write to the local government to convince them to implement some of these students' ideas. While waiting to hear back from the city, the students will find small ways to make a difference against pollution, like making recycling bins to place around the school.
To evaluate our students' learning, we're going to be giving informal and formal assessments. For our informal assessment, we're going to be observing information that the students are putting into the Flipgrid and Google Keep. And then after students have completed their research and developed a plan of action for decreasing pollution, they will write a letter to the mayor advocating for changes in the community. And then these letters are going to be used for formal assessment. When students have finished the lesson, they're going to take a survey to evaluate Flipgrid and Google Keep. So this is our survey. So in our survey, I just asked them a few questions. I started with Google Keep. So I asked them overall, how would you rate Google Keep? And then they can say whether or not they like it. And then I asked if they thought Google Keep helped them to learn. And for this one, they can write whatever response they would like. And then I asked, would you want to use Google Keep for another lesson? So they can say yes or no, whether or not they would like to use it again. Then I asked the same questions for Flipgrid, so they can rate Flipgrid and tell us whether or not they liked it. And then whether or not Flipgrid helped them learn. And again, if they want to use Flipgrid in the future. And then they'll press done, and we will receive their results. And then based on these results, we're going to decide whether or not we would like to use those tools in the future. For this lesson, it requires to use a lot of mobile devices because you would need one for each student in your classroom. And obviously some schools are not going to have these same resources, so if the supply is low, then we would have to change this assignment to a group assignment, and the group would just share a mobile device, and they would submit their work together. Another aspect of this lesson is use of community members. So it'd be beneficial for the teacher to go ahead and contact community members and make sure that they are willing to participate and that they know how to use Flipgrid and are able to discuss on that tool. Another thing is that depending on your location, it might be difficult to find sources of pollution. So you need to be prepared for that because this could cause the assignment to take much more time than originally planned so that your students can gather enough data and find sources of pollution in your community. It's also important to make sure that the teacher schedules accordingly to make sure that there's time to take the students out into the community during school and that this doesn't affect any of their other classes or any of the other lessons for the day. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed our technology integration project and thank you for watching.